Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys for attending the Windward webinar today. As you know, our support team has been affected by a typhoon in the Philippines, so we have a special guest from Professional Services stepping in for today's presentation. As always, we will take questions at the end. Our topic today is the Backdated Inventory Report. Before we get started, you can access past webinars on our website at www.windwardsoftware.com/webinars. And also emergency tickets now. We have a new procedure. If you're not aware, you can submit emergency tickets at www.windwardsoftware.com/emergency. As I said, today's presentation is the Backdated Inventory Report, so we'll be discussing when to use that report and how to use it. Our presenter today is Peter with Professional Services, and he's been with us for 4 years almost, I think. So without delay, Peter, let's get started.
Thanks, Jen. Welcome, everyone. Today we're talking about our Backdated Inventory Value Report. So, of course, we're going to be discussing what is the Backdated Inventory Value Report, how to use it, and how the values in that report are calculated. While we're not going to spend much time here in the slide deck, we're going to jump right into a demo today. And here is my System 5 demo. So, of course, we're going to be looking under our inventory root menu, and we're going to be going into inventory reports. And here you can see is the backdated inventory value report. Now, to understand the backdated inventory value report, really we need to take a step back and talk briefly about the inventory value report. Now, best practice in Windward System 5, if you're looking to calculate your inventory value, is to run the inventory value report. And what this report does is that it reports on the value of your inventory at that point in time. Now, it's the best practice because it's going to give you the most accurate valuation of your inventory at that point in time. And then, of course, you would save that valuation for your records. So, for instance, if it was a year end and you want to see what your value is at the end of your fiscal period, you would run that report on the day end of that fiscal period, and you would get the inventory value for the end of that period. Now, in the event that you didn't run that report and you wanted to, I guess, look at the historical value of your inventory, that's where the backdated inventory value report comes into play. So I'm going to start with the inventory value report, so our regular one, to show you our current state. And there's a number of options. I'm not going to get into all the options of this report, but I am going to turn on show detail, and I'm going to select a specific category. So in this case, I have an item sort of lined up in my mugs and cups subcategory, and I'm going to go ahead and view this report. So as of today, this is the value of my inventory. And specifically, I'm going to look at this item here, M268-02. And you can see we have today a financial or an inventory quantity, financial unavailable quantity of 2. And if we double click on this item, of course, it will drill right into this record. And we can see that that is the case. I've got departments on, but I think only my head office has any quantities. All right. So that's today's inventory value report, pretty straightforward. Now, let's look at the backdated inventory value report. So we're going to run the backdated inventory value report. Again, we're going to show details so we can see the parts, and we're going to select a specific category. The same one, of course. Find our mugs and cups. And now you'll notice that we have an option to backdate this. So I'm going to go to the beginning of this year and backdate this report. and we can see what we get. So we look at the same part, and we'll note, well, you see it's the same value too. All right, I've got my date slightly off here, so I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I know we have some history here. So I'm gonna look at my sales history. I'm gonna go look at this part, and we're gonna get our date sold. There we go. And here we are. So I can see I've actually sold one of these items today. So if I look at the inventory value as of yesterday, I should see that this quantity gets added back in. So in other words, we have 2 currently in the system, but since we sold one earlier today, yesterday, we should have 3. So let's try this again. I'm going to change my dating. Sorry about that. Let's do this, 12/15. There we go. So as of yesterday, you can see our inventory value reflects the 3 in stock. So it accounts for the 1 that we sold. So I kind of, maybe spoiler alert, I've spoiled my ending to this about how this backdated report is calculated. But essentially the way it's calculated is that it looks at today's quantity, then it looks at your sales history, what has been sold. It adds the quantity sold back in to, or against the quantity of today, and it removes any quantities from purchase orders that you've received. So that's how it's all calculated. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the same, so we've seen a sale, how that affects and adds the quantity back in, but let's go look at a purchase order now. So I'm going to look at my M26802, and we're going to go look at our purchases menu. We're going to edit a purchase. Oh, that's my webinar username. Let's try this, M268, M268-02. There we go. So that's the culprit. So I have a purchase order here back in February. My guess is that it's for 1. That's why we got the same date or calculation. There we go. So yes, indeed, it is for 1. So back in February, I received 1 in. So if we look at our backdated report and what we've done, today we have a quantity of 2. Yesterday, we had a quantity of 3 because of the 1 sale that was made earlier this morning. Now back in February, we had this receiving on February 22nd. So if I look back before February 22nd, this receiving of 1 will be removed from the quantity of 3. So in other words, today we have 2. We sold 1 this morning, so yesterday we have 3. And then way back in February 22nd, we did a receiving. So before that receiving, we would be back to 2. So again, if we run this report, we can simply see that by backdating here to, let's say, the 20th. So we're before that date. So we would expect to see now 2. Oops, wrong line item. At a moment there. We expect to see 2 on this report. So that's how our backorder report works in a nutshell. Just to illustrate this, I will go to the 23rd, so the day after the receiving. And of course, since we received it on the 22nd, that value should increase to 3. And there it is. So that's how the inventory, the backdated inventory value report works and how it's calculated. And again, I will stress that best practice is to run the regular inventory valuation report on the day that you want to see the value. This backdated report, it's great, but if you do a lot of manual adjustments, you will see that this backdated value report does have some challenges in seeing all of those adjustments. So if you're not doing any and you're just sticking to sales and purchasing, then this report's going to be very accurate. All right, we're going to, I think, open it up for questions at this point. And I'm also going to flip over back to our slideshow here. And while those questions start to come in, we'll just talk about some other items here. So for our customer satisfaction survey, we're always interested in helping our customers improve and grow your business. And we can't do that without your feedback. So please let us know how you're doing, or how we're doing, sorry, by taking this customer satisfaction survey located at windwardsoftware.com/survey. And there's resources available for those who are currently a subscriber or on a maintenance plan. If you need help on this or any other topic, you can try a number of these resources. So we have, of course, a searchable self-help site, the Windward Software Wiki, Windward Learning Academy. And if you'd like some guidance or help from one of our professional services specialists, then of course, you can take a look at our Windward Professional Services Catalog. And if you'd like one-on-one help on any of these topics, you can purchase, for instance, Inventory Efficiencies Plan to help you manage those things. Windward Professional Services is here to help you to learn how to get more from your ERP Windward System 5. As Jen alluded to earlier, or mentioned earlier in the introduction, there are times when you simply can't get a hold or remain on hold with our support team on the phone. So we've created a form which alerts us of your needs. So the following situations qualify for emergency support: if your entire system is down, you're unable to take payment, you can't log into System 5, recovering from a power outage. So obviously these things are preventing you from running your business. And we want you to reach out to us. So if your situation is not listed, please use the customer care portal at the support.windwardsoftware.com. The emergency support can be obtained by filling out the form at windwardsoftware.com/emergency. And for more on webinars, you can always look at our webinar archives as well. They're available at windwardsoftware.com/webinars. And that's the same place that you go to sign up for our webinars. So we'll bring it back to our question period, and we'll open it up to any of the attendees on the line here. You can post your questions in the chat.
Okay, excellent. Thanks so much, Peter. We have a couple questions already. Please be sure to put them in the question box. The first question from Katie is, I might have missed the answer, but what is the purpose of this report?
Yeah, good question, Katie. So the purpose of this report is to get the value of your inventory. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the best practice is to run the normal inventory value report. And I'll just show that again on the inventory and purchases menu under inventory reports. You have these two reports, inventory value and backdated inventory value. So the purpose here, simply stated, is we're trying to get the value of your inventory. So there's probably a number of reasons that you might want to know the value of the inventory on hand. Often, of course, at the year end, you want to make sure when you're doing your books, you need to know your inventory value. So that's a very common use case. And again, best practice would be to run that inventory value report on the date that you are looking to report the value. But sometimes it doesn't happen, it might be missed. And you need to know what your inventory value report was back at a previous date. That's when the backdated inventory value report comes in handy. and the purpose of it. Did that answer your question, Katie? And if you have something more specific, please let us know. And Joe, I see there's another question there as well from you. How do you account for the manual inventory adjustments? It's a good question, Joe. There is a manual inventory adjustment report. So if we go down a little bit further, is your manual adjustments report. Now, this report wasn't designed, I guess, to account for the manual adjustments. It was specifically looking at the sales and purchasing aspect of it. So I would say if you're doing a lot of manual adjustments, then this report's gonna come in handy so that you can look at the adjustments you've made, and that might also be maybe a path to finding your historical value as well. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Joe, but yeah, it is a little bit more challenging for sure if you're doing a lot of manual adjustments.
Thanks, Peter. We'll wait to see if there's any more questions coming in, but we do have one more webinar coming up for the end of the year. Thursday, December 30th, we will be talking about the month-end process. So that will be a great one to finish off the year. I look forward to seeing you guys all there. Last call for questions. If you have any more, you can enter them into the question box. Peter, I think you did a really great job of explaining. There's no questions today.
Thanks, Jen. It's been a while since I did a webinar, so thanks for bearing with me, everyone, and hopefully that was nice and straightforward for you.
Oh, excellent. We got one more question from Maria. Is the manual adjustment report a journal entry at the end of the year?
I think the simple answer is no. No, it's going to be a report that shows you all the adjustments that were made over a period. So you can certainly use this report to identify adjusting journal entry that needs to be made. Absolutely. But really this is, going back to Joe's question there, if that backdated inventory value report maybe doesn't make any sense, or that a number of adjustments were made during a certain period, then this report, this manual adjustments report, would be very valuable in seeing what those adjustments were, and then yes, making the appropriate journal entry. But in itself, this report does not create a journal entry.
Okay, great. I don't see any more questions coming in, so I guess we will wrap it up for now. But if you think of any questions afterwards, please feel free to email them to support@windwardsoftware.com. If we don't see you talk to you before the holidays, I wish you guys all a great one. Hope you are all able to spend time with friends and family and enjoy some wintry season. And we will see you last Thursday of the year, December 30th. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.